Cutter, there's been a lot of talk about mixing up the teams.
Yeah.
It's pretty important to have your fives playing together, though. So what are some of the challenges that, how do you try to mesh them to get them to work together?
No, I think it's a really good thing because I think you get different people playing next to different people, testing people's communication, right? Somebody might play really good next to somebody, but right, knowing that communication might be better than playing next to somebody. Like, I think the communication aspect of things really ramps up the more you mix up with the groups. I think it allows people to be able to play different positions, allow people to be able to play on the left side, to be able to play on the right side. And ultimately, I think the biggest thing that we're trying to do is try to find the five best guys, right? Wherever that might be and whatever that rotation might look like throughout spring and throughout fall is continuing to be able to get guys reps. I think that's the one thing we've done a really good job of so far is continuing to be able to develop these guys and not just the young guys, but the guys that just got here, the older guys, of continuing to be able to evaluate those guys every single day and maximize their reps while they're out there.
They didn't rotate very much on the line last year.
Yeah.
So what are your impressions of these guys?
Yeah, I'm always the same mentality. If you have put it and showed it to me on tape, right? If you prove it to me in practice in the meeting rooms, right, that you are one of the best guys, right, you will play, right? Like I'm one of those guys where it might be 5, right? It might be 6, it might be 7, it might be 8, right? I don't know what that might be. I couldn't tell you right now, right? But I'm one of those. If you've proven to me, right, that you can be able to go out there and play at a high level and be able to play winning football at this level, right, you will get reps.
Players earlier this week just talked about how fast the pace of practice is. How does that fit into the offensive line where, we don't normally think the big guys and speed go hand in hand,
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, it's fast paced, but I think it helps with all the I don't want to use the term chaos, but like we're going to go on road environments. It's going to be loud, right? Like how we can be calm in the chaos, how we can be able to reset our mind, reset our focus, and really have that, like, this play is the most important play mentality. And I think it really helps with the communication, going back to that piece from earlier of there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on. How we can be able to focus, be able to communicate up front, I think is extremely important.
Where does Lance Hurd, like when he's out there on the field,
Yeah.
What makes him a difference maker?
Yeah, I think he's a big physical athlete. Like, he is an athlete. He moves extremely well laterally. He brings tremendous amount of power in the run game. I think he's a outstanding football player. And the one thing about Lance, continuing to be able to grow our relationship that I'm really what makes me proud is just his ability to, like, he's a really sharp person. Like, he's a very smart. He picks things up extremely well. So he's been able to pick up this offense really, really fast and help people along with him to be able to learn as well. So I'm really proud about how he's able to bring guys along with him and continuing to push him to do that more and more.
Your age, your youth, help you, and how does it, and what are the challenges?
Yeah. Well, I tell the guys, like, there's nobody that can be able to relate to them better than me, right? Not too long ago, I was in their shoes, right? I was in those morning runs and morning lifts and, going to class and doing all those things not too long ago. So I know, like, what's going through their mind before it even goes through my mind. Like, I've been there. I've done that. The game of football is continuing to evolve and change, right? I understand that. But not too long ago, I was in their shoes. So I can be able to relate to those guys extremely, extremely well. And, I don't think there is any disadvantages. Like, my whole life, I've grown up, around football and from my family. And this is, ever since I was little, this is all I ever wanted to be able to do. So, I don't think there is any disadvantages on that aspect of things.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you face when you have a group of guys that never play beside each other?
I think it's just playing five, like 5 guys playing as one, right? Just seeing the game all the same way, right? So, like, being able to have those guys, sitting down and all speaking the same language, right? I say, speak 2 languages, English and offensive line play, right? Like, you have to be able to speak the same language, whether that's, terminology of the offense or technique and fundamentals, defensive terms, those types of things, to be able to make sure everybody's on the same page is extremely important. And all those guys seeing the game the same way. And it takes time. It really does. But I really feel like we're on the right track, and continuing to, the amount of work the guys have put in has been really impressive.
You talked a lot about communication.
Yeah.
How does Colton Price figure into that?
Yeah, he's played a lot of football, which is awesome, right? Played a lot of football, and he has a lot of experience. So he's seen a lot of things, which is really good. Now, I think it's continuing in this new offense to be able to learn and evolve, and it helps tremendously. But I think it's something that we're always trying to be able to improve.
It's so important for you all in the portal to go get 3 guys who have multiple years of like power and conference starting experience up there.
Yeah, I think it's important, but I think the one thing that we did was brought in the right people. The people that have really good off the field habits, extremely smart. They work hard, like tremendous people, right? Before you even look at the film, and I think that really helps with the transition of things. Is the type of people that we brought in, and it's a huge plus that they played a lot of Power 4 football as well.
About mix some of those guys around, force some other dynamic lineups, no depth chart.
Yeah.
How much does that go into having that mindset of 5 plus points when it comes to bigger picture view?
Yeah, I think it's the entire thing is always trying to improve and always trying to challenge the guys, not wanting to be able to make them step out of their comfort zone. You know what I mean? And maybe play on both sides, play a different position. I want guys that can play all 5. I think that allows you to be able to be multiple and be able to do some really good things up front. So continuing to be able to find that and challenge the guys up front to be able to do that as well.
There's been a lot of talk about Will's offense
Yeah.
and the tempo.
Yeah.
What kind of conditioning is required for you guys in particular to play this tempo effectively?
Yeah, I think that there's, being in shape, and then there's like football shape, and so I think the best way is to be able to go out there and play football. I think it takes time, right? Like, I would love to be able to walk out there and be in great shape myself, but it takes time, So I think that's going to come over the spring and over fall. It's continue to be able to get those guys reps and push themselves. And, when times get hard, continue to be able to push and being on top of that for sure. But, I think there's 2 types. You got to be able to get those reps to be able to get in football shape.
Does it test an offensive lineman the way he likes to play?
In the aspect of...
In that tempo and being, because they've got to set the point.
Yeah.
If one of those guys is behind.
Yeah, I mean, like, we play with tempo, but we don't play with tempo all the time. Like, I think the one thing we've done a tremendous job of is being able to change tempos as well. Like, it's not, fast-paced 24/7. Like, we huddle and, we be able to do some different things to be able to dictate the tempo as well. So I don't think it's 24/7, every play is tempo, right? But I think we've done a really good job of being able to mix up our tempos. But I think what tempo does is be able to catch the defense off guard, and sometimes they're not set, which is a good thing and what you're trying to do when you're playing with tempo.
Fans have obviously seen a lot of Tegra and Colton and Lance
Yep.
where they've been before, but outside of those 3 guys, anybody who's already kind of caught your eye or impressed you, maybe surprised you a little bit of it?
Yeah, I think that there's some we have really good depth in the room. We have guys that have played football before, which is really good. There's guys that like in the room prior to getting here that we really like, and some guys that are coming back for some injuries and some things that continuing to be able to evaluate. So I don't want to call somebody out, right? Particularly like I know you mentioned those 3 names, done a great job, but I think the rest of the room has done a tremendous job as well.
Just what do those guys have to do to separate themselves?
I think it's consistency, right? I think it's consistency every single day, like not having a great practice one day and maybe a poor practice the next, right? I think it's about being able to be consistent every single day. And we talk about being able to play physical and being able to play extremely hard. Like how hard do you play? How hard do you play for the guy next to you, right? That's extremely important to me because, times get tough, out there in the 4th quarter, out there on the road, and you want to make sure you have a really mentally tough group, mentally and physically tough overall. And I think mentally tough is extremely important for the offensive line position.
You've seen your guys kind of gel with the quarterbacks so far. How important is that relationship with the offensive line to have that kind of cohesion?
Yeah, no, I think it's extremely important. And I think what's really cool is the blue and white teams. It makes us be able to be with multiple quarterbacks. Centers being with different quarterbacks, getting the center quarterback exchange with different quarterbacks and being able to work that because, you never know what's going to happen during a game. So you have that ability to be able to adapt and adjust. So it's been good. You got to be able to have great communication from especially the center to the quarterback as well as the rest of the offensive line for the full play call. So I think we've done a good job of that, continuing trying to improve as well.
You don't know under center?
Excuse me?
Will you all go under?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you watch, a lot of our from this past season, we've had the ability to be able to do both. Yeah.
I heard from Kentucky fans, they talk about big blue wall
Yeah.
roots of the past. How are you kind of instilling in the guys what kind of that legacy is here? Because not O-line groups aren't always well known by Kentucky. They know because they block for some pretty good running backs and those guys. So how are you instilling them just how important they are here to this fan base and to this program?
Yeah, no, I mean we see it every single day, in the indoor, and I think the tradition and history here of the offensive line and the big blue wall is really cool to me to be able to join this and be a part of it and continue to learn more. And I love whenever the former players come back here and be able to talk to them and to get their side, like, hey, like what was whenever the big blue wall was really rolling and kind of that, how was it in the room? How was the tradition? How was that feeling? I love hearing from former players, guys of the past coming back, and really like our guys to be able to talk to those guys as well. And but the history and tradition of the big blue wall is something that's extremely important to me that we're definitely going to carry on.
Is there a particular former player that has some great piece of advice that stuck with you?
Landon's been here. Eli Cox has been here. There's been some other guys been able to kind of trickle through and be around. But I think that our guys have a good relationship with those guys of the past. So I don't want to call it anybody's particularly, but there's been some guys that have been here and been able to work out with our guys, and they see what it's supposed to look like, and being able to play at a really high level in the NFL.
Everybody good? Oh, go ahead.
Kind of a follow-up
Yeah.
along those lines. Is that exciting for someone in your organization coaching these guys that there's kind of a special following around here for O-line? You don't see that everywhere. Sometimes people talk about O-linemen just being recognized when the official calls it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here, they're celebrated. And
Yeah, no, I always say playing the offensive line position is a very selfless position. Like if you make a big block and there's a 75-yard touchdown run, they don't say, that the offensive lineman made the block for the big run. They say the guy's name and score the touchdown, so you don't get, it's a very selfless position. So being able to have, a community and a university that really cares and honors the tradition of the offensive line and the big blue wall is extremely, like, our guys take tremendous amount of pride in that. They really do. And they don't take that for granted any day. And so I'm trying to be able to hold up my end of the bargain every single day and trying to hold that standard for sure. So it's really cool. It's unique.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah. Thank you guys.